Greetings everyone. In today's video, we'll be looking at some writing tips for academic essays. A lot of students complain that they're not able to achieve high grades and they don't understand exactly how they have to go about a paper. So in this video, I'm going to discuss exactly what you're doing wrong and how can you get an A grade in your papers. The first thing that we're going to be looking at is making an outline. Remember, the roadmap is very important when you are writing a paper or when you're even starting your own business. When you have a roadmap, you exactly know in which direction you have to move, and so the process becomes easier. When we talk about outline, we really need to understand exactly what do we have to include in this. Remember, you have to include exactly which book or what book are you going to use for your paper, what your research question demands of you, and how much research is involved in this particular paper. So if you want to really write a good paper, you really have to have an outline in mind. Which professor or which subject are you writing for also plays a very important part in deciding exactly how you go about a paper. All the professors in different universities and colleges and even schools have different criteria of marking, and these criteria of marking are basically understood by the students who are under them, more specifically because they tell them these marking criterias, and when you listen to someone's lecture or when you're attending someone's class, you really have a practical idea of how he prefers things. So making an outline will actually help you to determine exactly what process you have to go through in order to achieve good marks. Coming to our next slide, paying attention to the given marking rubric. A lot of students that I know and a lot of students that I've taught, they don't really pay attention to what's given to them as marking rubric. The reason is that students think it's kind of waste of time to go through this, completely filled table or chart which has a good, satisfactory and different kinds of options there, and so they start to write. They think of this as a very depressing or torturing process. Don't think of it like that. Think of it as a process of revealing your inner skills, working on dimensions you believe that you can improve, or working in dimensions in which you think you can achieve better results. Paying attention to the marking rubric has its own benefits. You can ask your professor exactly what he meant by certain term he used there, and he will know that if you are going through the content, which might result in some plus points. Coming to our next slide, skim and scan. Whenever you're given reading materials, a lot of students are very lazy and they don't really want to go through all the materials, so they just look for summaries and clear ideas from the internet. Now these sources are important, and I'm going to discuss exactly how they help us in writing an academic paper. But then again, you're not supposed to miss on the reading material. If you cannot thoroughly go through all these things, try to read and skim and scan through these documents so that you have an idea of exactly what your professor demands. Tip: use Google search engine to find relevant data in layman language. A lot of terms that are used in different subjects and different studies really don't ring a bell in students' mind, and they are confused exactly what they are talking about there. So if you want to research, if you want to find out exactly what these terms means, or if you just want to particularly know about the topic, Google search engine is your best friend. You can understand different topics, different things through Google search engine by just typing in the keywords, and you'll get a lot of resources that you can read, even articles which are written by students and some teachers and some people who have relevant information. But a lot of these information might not lead you to exactly what your paper demands. The reason is that Google search engine does not filter out uh, relevant data for you. It's giving you all the data that's available for the specific keywords, no matter if it's authentic or not. So if you want to find out authentic journals, and if you want to look at the data that's relevant for your studies, and it might help you in citation paper of the paper as well, then you have to go through scholar.google.com and avoid using Google search engine. The next is you can use YouTube videos to draft your paper. A lot of times when I was a student, I used to wonder exactly how do I go about a paper, and I used to go through different YouTube videos and I used to look at different people speaking about about a certain topic that I was working on, and I used to get my idea of speech from there. A lot of times you really don't know where to start from, and these videos on YouTube, they are very helpful in deciding exactly where you take a start. But make sure that these videos you're watching, they have authentic credibility and sources. You can watch videos from TEDx or different other channels that are available on YouTube and get relevant data out of them. Coming to our next slide. My paper requires academic referencing, so what am I going to do about it? I have written a paper through YouTube videos and Google search engine, but wait a second, my professor is not going to accept it as a credible source. So what do I do now? That's exactly what I have discussed before. You know, these Google search engine sources and YouTube videos are really going to help you write a paper, but then again, they're not citable sources, unfortunately, because they are written in layman language. So you have to go through some relevant journals and, you know, skim and scan through them for the key terms and key ideas and cite them in your paper. The next slide is about writing your first draft. When you have gathered all the information that you need to write the paper, start writing. It's important that you write your first draft before you submit the paper, because you see, even at this point in life where I am also teaching, I make a lot of mistakes, and I too have to go through my work and, you know, edit it for any mistakes or any thing that I've written wrong or cited wrong. Please don't take a wrong idea that I'm saying that you can use the articles and blog posts to write your own material. Remember, these articles and blogs are also written by reading credible sources, so you can take idea from there. I'm not saying that these sources should be, you know, the concrete for your paper. You really need to have to go through the journals and research papers and reading materials that are given to you. But then again, we all know that sometimes we really need help. So if you need help writing in a paper, then you just go through these articles and blog posts and different things that is available to you on Google search engine and start writing your paper. Start writing your first draft. Once you're done writing your first draft, you have to proofread your paper. Usually people neglect the importance of proofreading because they see they get anxiety and they get depressed or stressed when they're going through their work, because they don't think of themselves as qualified individuals, and they are very worried about their grades. But remember, if you read your paper again and you identify your own mistake, then that's the best thing, because before anyone else identifies them for you, you're doing it the job yourself. So nothing beats that, and I hope my students will be listening to this video and following the criteria that I've given to them. Thank you so much.